Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading is looking at your career, your vocation, your personal brand, your business, whatever applies. You don't have to be working in a 9 to 5 job or anything like that. It could be that you're just getting yourself out there with the personal brand or online. Like whatever encompasses that side of your life is what we're going to be looking at today. And the inspiration for it came from me receiving a deck that I backed on Kickstarter called the Modern Work Oracle. This is by Queenie and Suka Nguyen, and the illustrations by Han Nguyen. I actually interviewed Queenie and Suka about this deck probably about a month or so ago from when I'm filming this. So if you get intrigued by the deck and you want to see a little bit about the creators, that particular interview is in my deck creator interview playlist. So by all means, check it out. But it is what it would imply, modern work. It's looking at what it is for us in these days to be, the sort of issues, energies, and so forth. And so that's what we're looking at in general. We're looking at for you, what's the next step or the energies coming in for your career, vocation, personal brand, business, as I say, whatever fits for you. And we're going to have a look at the general energies and what you do see coming, what may be a little bit, or what supports you and what sort of breakthroughs you can have, and also what blocks there may be. We'll have a look at how people are responding to you within the workplace or within your business or your personal brand, and things around skills and energy to bring to this to get the best outcomes. So to help with the choice, what we have here is 3 of the cards from the Modern Work Oracle. Underneath each are 2 others from the Oracle. I don't know what they are. They're just intuitively chosen. So we will see what they kind of together give us as a set of energies or a specific overarching energy, and then we'll look into it with tarot and other things. For pile number 1, we have investment. For pile number 2, we have team. And for pile number 3, we have sustainable. So the image or the concept might draw you. If you always go to pile 2, go to pile 2. Whatever works for you, pause and contemplate. And if you want to go to more than one reading, that's of course fine as well. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps, as always, in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with investment, and as it says, investment is like a sharpshooter's aim, strategically deploying money to hit the target of prosperity. So the idea here, the overarching idea, is how do you actually maximize the outcome of whatever you're doing? Whether it is for money, for some of you it may not be. It might be, as I say, personal brand or some form of vocation. Though even with that, a certain amount of money being drawn in can help with your causes and all that kind of thing. But the idea is, what do you put in now that will reap benefits later? And the interesting thing is that there's 2 other energies here, as I say. Firstly, travel, expanding horizons and exploring new realms of adventure. And secondly, outsource, looks like it's going to UFO, expanding your team and expertise for better results. So there's certainly something about expansion here, investment and expansion. And it could well be that these are 2 areas in a business, if you're running a business, or in something to do with your customer service delivery or your promotion or whatever in a job that you're doing, or even in how to take what you're making from a job and enjoying more and potentially starting your own side hustle or something like that. But there's definitely a feeling that we spend money to make money, and the 2 areas in particular to look at is, what are your horizons? And for some of you, it may literally be to travel. It might be, if I travel more for my work, or if I travel the world, I'm going to find the things that I really want to do. And in terms of outsourcing, it may be that in your particular business at the moment or your job, you've got to the point where you shouldn't have to do everything. Like, it's actually good to get other people with other skills to do stuff so that you can focus on the core stuff that's really good for you. So as I say, this has a very strong business focus to it. I feel like for many of the ones who've come to pile 1, it probably is more around a business or your personal brand. Like, let's say it was your personal brand. This, say you were running a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or something like that, and you're out there, or a website, and you're looking at your SEO and so forth. What can you do to expand your horizons to get a larger base of people paying attention to what you're doing. And what don't you need to do? It might be things like the advertising, for instance. It might be things like if you have product or merchandise that you associate with your personal brand, it might be outsourcing the shipping and the delivery of that. Whatever it is, it's spend money to make money kind of concept. But there's definitely in this overall a sense of expansion, travel, getting whatever you're doing away from just you. So if you are in a job where it's just you or just the team that you're around, it might be suggesting to you that this is a time to think about investing in training and development that will allow you to expand your horizons and start to get to a position to delegate. So just apply that concept of what do you expend now or invest now to broaden your horizons and to offload work that you're not, either you don't particularly want to do or that, somebody else could do better so that you can focus on the sweet spot of what you're doing. So it's a very positive sort of energy around this at the moment. It suggests that you're poised for a promotion, for an expansion of your business, for a growth in your cause, whatever it might be. So let's go to the tarot. Let's ask firstly, what are the key areas and energy over the next 6 to 12 months in this part of your life, career, vocation, etc. We're going to look at what blocks or issues you might encounter and then also what breakthroughs are likely. So what's going on the concept of investment and expansion? What else can we learn about the next 6 to 12 months? 10 of Wands, this is definitely about getting rid of what isn't sort of worth your time to do. 10 of Cups, 6 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. Okay, for some of you, if you are in a particular workplace at the moment, you're an employee or you're a manager or something like that, there is a possibility that you may be establishing yourself over the next 6 to 12 months to leave, actually, to move to another workplace or another opportunity that expands your horizons. Whatever the outcome here, because this is a shift, the 10 of Pentacles reverse tells me a shift in the past. Could also be getting promoted so that you're no longer doing the stuff that you did before. Whatever it is, what precedes that is this sort of concept of outsourcing. And it's a broad concept, but this is about removing the burden so that you can enjoy what you're doing more. You've already got the foundations that you need, but you may, as I say, need to either move up the ladder or you may need to move from an organisation into another organisation that allows you to do more of what you want to do. Because here we have the 10 of Cups and the 6 of Cups. We have the enjoyment of all of this, which has that sense of expansion, doing what you want, exploring and so forth. And the 6 of Cups tells me this is going back to something core that you really love to do or you've always wanted to do. So for some, this might be that you've reached a point where you could either go part-time or leave a workplace to start your own business and finally do what you really wanted to do. For others, it might be that you are a specialist in some way within an organisation and maybe you've been doing quite a bit of the sort of administrative sort of work or the management work and you're actually looking to move away from that to, let's say, another organisation or another opportunity that allows you to get back to your core love, what you really want to do. And it's saying you're at a point now where you could do that and feel secure. So an example of that might be, I've worked with quite a few people who are really good at the kind of strategic end of information technology, of IT. And they often, in the organisations that I've been in, have hit a point where they don't get to do the solutions development and the innovation anymore because the only way to move up the ladder is to take on a generalist management role. It would almost feel in this case like you've done that and you have to some degree outsourced what you do, but it's almost as though you either get to a bigger organisation that allows you to go back to being a specialist or you get high enough that you actually can outsource and delegate a lot of the administrative side of things so that you get to take on special projects. But whatever this is, there's something that you're doing. You're either investing in your own business, you're investing in leaving somewhere knowing that you have the money to back you so that you can actually pursue what you want to do. Or, as I say, you're getting promoted within an organisation. So we're looking at a very positive energy to get back to what you really want to do and to get away from the things that were weighing you down. So that's excellent. But, careers, vocation always have their challenges. So what blocks or issues are around you in the next 6 to 12 months? Ace of Swords reversed, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Lovers reversed, Page of Wands. Well, okay, so firstly, now that's interesting with investment and also with the Four of Pentacles. What this suggests to me, because we have all reversed, and reverse aren't bad, but they are more like a kind of hidden or suppressed energy. This suggests to me a little bit of a stepping stone. It's like you start with an invest, and that fits with investment in a way. We don't always instantly reap the benefits of an investment. We see a longer term outcome, a longer term travel, a destination that we're going towards. And so this may well be saying that you can get a certain amount of the way towards that and establish the foundation and get back to doing what you really want, getting rid of some of what you didn't want to do. But it's not going to fully manifest till later. That may, in fact, be what the Ten of Pentacles is talking about if you're not automatically going, yes, I expect to leave my workplace and do something different in the next 6 to 12 months. So the blocks are partly about finding the right connections and right relationships. Now that will be interesting because we are going to look at how different sorts of people that you might be working with are responding to you. So that may be a bit of a clue. So if you were investing in setting up your own business, for instance, it might be that it'll take a bit of time to get the right business partners or collaborators or even clients. There's also something here about getting the inspiration that would really make you probably soar. Like it looks as though there's some temporary things that you do. There's like things that you start and stop and go, no, that isn't quite it. That isn't quite it. Don't worry too much about that. The energy there towards a new inspiration and more creativity is there, but it's like there has to be a period of experimentation. So I feel like if you started your own business, you might start with a number of kind of product lines, and a few of them are not going to work out, but you'll find the ones that do. So that's very entrepreneurial. People go, oh, you know, people have failed if one entrepreneurial business or two fail. But in fact, most entrepreneurs will have quite a few businesses that fail, but they have by far more that succeed. That's the kind of energy that you've got here. But there's a time in sorting that out. If it's within an organization, it might be that you have a great idea, but you've got to actually build the relationships with the people, particularly the money people, to allow you to do what you want. And that might be the investment energy. It might be that you've got yourself to a position where your specialist expertise and your strategy, you can really see some great strides for the organisation, but you've got to convince the money people. So there's some timing issues and relationship issues. So what breakthroughs are you going to achieve in that period of time? If that's the kind of blocks, what are the breakthrough energies? Five of Pentacles, Two of Swords reversed. Okay. For you, there is probably one particular person that you have to get a breakthrough with. And this is promising that you will, but it's a money person. It's got something to do with money or resources on that kind of level. And this person is quite a critical sort of person. Like they're not easy to convince of things. And before they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, they want more information than you have at the beginning. So this is all it's saying. It's saying that this is, I think the travel by and large here is you expanding your horizons. This is you working out how to make an efficient business, an efficient prospect. And this is almost the investor or the person you could invest in, I think, the person who would supply the money or the support. So there's someone you need to convince. So when we have a look, which is the next thing we're going to do, is having a look at the types of way that people, different types of roles might be responding to you. My sense is this is going to be someone who has the purse strings or is very influential. If you were safe, if this is personal brand rather than a business, it might be another influencer or someone who might potentially invest in what you're doing if they can see the benefit or the outcome. So they need to see the outcome for them as well. But it's like, I think it takes a little bit of time either to get this person on side or to have the breakthrough of something new. If it's a boss, then understand that they aren't one thing that's really good about them is they're not a person who would have favorites. They're a person who actually holds themselves quite separate and they want evidence. So once you have the evidence around this, and you can, as I say, efficiency would be a very big thing with this person. That's a breakthrough energy for you. So although they're not easy, it is telling you are going to have the breakthrough. It just might take a little bit of time to fully realize the investment, to really realize what you're talking about. So let's have a look and see what different types of people you work with how they might respond to you. So we're just going to use a deck that has expressions on people's faces just to get us a general idea. Now remember, there's a little bit of time in this for you. It's promising a good outcome, but there's a little bit of time and certainly that you're going to get to do what you really want to do. But there is some money issues and some relationship issues. So that may show with this, or it might tell you where there are particular allies. So we're going to look at colleagues. So colleagues would be anybody, peers and colleagues, people that you're working with, people that you collaborate with if you're a online influencer or something like that. We're going to look at managers or bosses. That would be kind of this energy. And then clients. This could also be this energy if you're looking for a particular big client. So let's just see. So colleagues, people, peers, that sort of energy around you in this period of time. They're pretty happy with you. So, and that makes sense when we've got the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups. There's good relationships on that level. People you're going to be working with on a day-to-day basis. People that you might actually delegate to or outsource to. There's that kind of energy that is positive. They're kind of expectant. I think they're looking to see what will happen, but it's a positive energy. What about managers, business partners, or money people? Okay, yeah, you've got to convince them. I'm not sure. And it doesn't mean, and like I feel like it's female, but it doesn't have to be. I'm not sure, she's saying I'm not sure. Like it's not saying no, but it's saying I'm waiting to see. So that makes sense. I think this is this energy. And then what about clients? Okay, they're waiting to see as well too. So what is good about this? Pile one, is that the people that you're working with day to day are really happy and expectant of what you're doing. The others are waiting to see what comes of this. That makes perfect sense with investment. If you came to investment, I think you have quite a strong entrepreneurial energy and you have that risk-taking ability that's necessary because you don't always know if an investment's going to pay off. So you would expect to see, as you go through this, a kind of convince me and the client sort of place on the managers, but the people who are working with you really believe in you. They're very calm and very happy with this. So this shows me that you're very talented at what you do. Therefore, that's why it's telling you you're going to get the breakthrough. But getting the right client base when that makes sense, or audience if you're an influencer or whatever it is, and getting these sort of money people, investors on side, it's going to take a little bit of time. So let's get some straight talking for dealing with each of these groups. For your colleagues, peers, authentic, yeah. You've got some really good people around you and they see you as authentic. So that's why, I mean, this is something you really love to do and it's something you're really good at. And I think therefore, if you outsource or you provide to them things that they're good at, you'd be extremely good in a team and extremely good at bringing people together because you know what you're good at and what you want to focus on, you know what they're good at. You're going to have some really good people around you in terms of colleagues and peers in this period of time. What about dealing with the manager, the business partner, the money person? Positive vibes. Okay, that's good. Overall, it's positive. That makes sense. May take a few goes to see what actually works and how best to communicate, and they may stand to the side and wait, but the overall energy there is positive, which makes sense for the fact that you were going to get a breakthrough with them. And what about clients or audience, that kind of side of things? Stop. Okay. All right. I might actually pull a card to clarify that. It might be that you need to focus more on this, the people that you're working with, and also what the energy of the investors are before you kind of go out too much into the client group. So actually, I'm going to draw a tarot card to ask if that's the case. So I have a particular system for yes, no, so that's what we're going to work with. So for yes is Ace to 10 of Wands and Cups and all major arcana, and no is Ace to 10 of Swords and Pentacles and Court cards. But if the Court cards are Cups or Wands and they're reversed, then it's a bit close to call. So I'm just going to ask, is the stop energy there a thing around testing, the testing out to get that done before you start to show what you're expecting to clients or audience? No, that's not what's going on there. Okay, so you are going to need to show stuff to them. Are there some clients or audiences you need to cease to concentrate on? Nine of Pentacles, no, you need the connection. Will some clients and audience not follow you? Yes, okay. So you just need to know, it's not that you need to stop. It's that in this transition, some of the people who used to be your clients or your audience will not follow. This is not a big deal because this is about expansion, but you just need to know that so that you wouldn't sort of consider it was a negative thing for you. Okay. So if that's the clients and so forth, what skills are going to work in your favour that you know about? And then we're also going to look at skills and energy that you don't know about that could be a surprise. So firstly, some skills or energies that are going to work in your favour. Freelance frontier. Yeah, it does have a feeling of something like a freelance. It does feel like a side gig that eventually becomes something else, or being in something where you're much more free to do what you want to do. You're not so administratively weighed down. So your capacity to do that and your capacity to risk take and be flexible is going to be very important. The go-getter. Yeah, and you are a go-getter, and that energy will work. This is the positive vibes on this person who's watching the money. They do want to see energy. They want to see that you're going to go after it all. And the introvert. Okay, so I think this is why, like a lot of the energy was reversed. You're not particularly showing. This might also be this, that it's like you're not necessarily going to take the same audience or clients with you. Let that work itself out. You don't have to be too concerned about that. It's your inspiration and getting back to the core. Might be why I was talking about IT people to start with. A lot of them are a bit introverted, but very, very creative. So it's that sort of energy, and that will work for this, for what you're trying to do. That energy will work. Okay, it might be a little bit more behind the scenes as well. That might be what this is saying for those that, you're not your own personal brand, for instance, out there on the internet. So let's see a couple of things that might surprise you but will work in your favour. The listener, okay, I think that connects to there. This is how you're going to build the relationships. You maybe don't think about that because if you have introverted energy, you might not be sort of thinking how much your way of listening to and connecting with people is actually working for you, but it's working extremely well with the people that you are colleagues with. You listen, you hear, you work very well in a team, your outcomes focused, and it will work well with anybody that you have to have a relationship with to rely on for money because you're going to hear what it is that they're asking for. Okay, and the other aspect that might surprise you that's going to work well for you is the retirement roadmap. Okay, this is something that's going to set you up for when you want to be retired. Like this has actually got real legs to whatever it is. It's going to set you up very well, and it's going to give you that sense of, okay, maybe you can retire early if you do really well, that kind of thing, if that's what you want to do. Or it may be that once you get to do what you really enjoy with that 10 of Cups and working with people you really enjoy working with, that you would be happy to do this until you retire. So it's a real shift not only towards expansion and profitability, but it's also a shift towards what you really want to do. So that's excellent. Okay, so let's just get some astrology energy as well for you over this period of time. We have Venus in the 5th house, in love with love. Well, they say in love with love, but this is very creative. So there's something very creative in this and beautiful. The beauty and creativity and so forth is somehow connected to this. It's also extremely good for relationships, and you need to build relationships for this. So you have a natural charm, a natural charisma that will work for you, but you are also innately creative, and this is going to give you more opportunity to show that. We also have Venus in the 6th house, yes. And again, here we have beauty, creativity, that kind of thing in relation to your work, dedicated. Yeah, once you know what it is that you want to do, you are going to be dedicated to it. You will see it through. This is a change that's likely to take you a long, long way in terms of the years that you might want to put into it. And we have Uranus in the 6th house, big changes in the workplace, strong feelings of external disapproval. Okay, so I don't always take that as being that, like that's just one way that Uranus in the 6th house can work. It could be that you feel at first a difficulty with this person. No, you are going to break through that because you have a lot of charm. As I say, I would more see Uranus in the sixth house as a major change in your day-to-day work. This is a major breakthrough and inspiration. And there's a lot about inspiration here because I think you're a very creative person. So I take it more in that space rather than worrying about external disapproval. But don't be concerned if at first you feel like you've got a bit of that from old clients or an old audience or from the person who might give money. That's going to shift because this is a shift you need to move towards what you would really enjoy doing, which is where you're going with the Ten of Cups, remember. Okay, so last but not least, we're just going to get you a piece of advice from the Secret Women's Business deck. You don't have to be a woman for this. It's just a business deck about something to focus on in the very immediate future to help you maximize the benefits out of this reading. Home-based business. Okay, so that fits with the freelance frontier. If you're not right now thinking of a home-based business, that may be something you can eventually leverage this into, or it could be, a side gig that you do that sort of helps you financially to then have a little bit more flexibility for what you want to do with this. But thinking about what you can do from home, how you can build your profitability and so forth from home, and potentially investing in the sort of equipment and work environment that you need would be a good first step. So I think it's a really positive energy coming in. There's some relationship management to do, but you are well placed to do it. And I think the change is going to be profound and take you to something that you really want. It may take a little bit more than the next 6 to 12 months to do it, but I do think that you're going to be well on your way in that period of time. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome part 2 to your reading. So you came to the reading with team, talking about harmonising diverse talents and passions to create a symphony of success. We also have interview, questions unlock narratives, and listening becomes the key to understanding. And we have relax. It's essential to pause and reset, ensuring you keep ticking smoothly. I feel like there's like one of two ways that this could play out, and we will see potentially with the tarot, or we might need to kind of consider both options. One option is that you are potentially interviewing or will interview soon for a job where you go into a very busy team, and it's very important to be able to take a break either between the jobs so that you can reset, or know how to not take on too much. And it could even be potentially to be able to find out in an interview a little bit about that around work-life balance without putting the interviewer off. So that could be one thing. The other thing is that you could be interviewing people for a team because there's too much going on at the moment. And so the important thing is to make sure then that you take the time to do it, that you don't rush into the first person that you talk to, but you actually consider the team dynamics that are going on. Because the more that the team works well together and the energies and skills harmonize, the more you will be able to relax. So if you've just started a new project, for instance, or you've started a new business and you've either got to have, employees, or if it's not interviewing that, it's like collaborators or business partners, then it's important not to rush into that so that you don't end up taking on too much. You could potentially be interviewing for team members because you have taken on too much, and if you can get the right people, you can actually chill a little bit. So as I said, it kind of depends, and it may be a bit of both, but we will see what we get in the first line of tarot cards to see if there's a particular aspect to this that is more what this message is for the collective. So what we're going to look at with tarot is we're going to look at a little bit more about the key areas and energies over the next 6 to 12 months. And that might give me a bit more of an idea of, are you a business owner or a manager or a team leader or an executive who needs to interview to get the right team together so that you don't completely burn out? Or are you someone interviewing to be in a team and you need to know subtly, and you probably do need to be subtle about it, what the work-life balance is before you sort of throw yourself in the deep end. So let's see what we get firstly with that. We're then going to look at what blocks or issues could arise in that time period and what breakthroughs could arise. So firstly, a little bit more about it. Knight of Cups reversed, Ace of Pentacles, Two of Cups, Three of Wands, Nine of Swords reversed. Okay. My sense is this is more for people who are interviewing for a job than are interviewing to get someone to work for them. But I will talk a little bit about both. The reason I say that I think it's more likely to be somebody interviewing is I get the feeling that there's some worry right now about not winning a job, not getting the offer, but that's dissipating. In this time period, you are likely to get the offer that you need. There is a new job coming up. There will be the good connection in the interview, and there will be a good team to work with. So it is saying you are going to be able to take it. I think it's basically saying relax. If it hasn't happened yet, don't let that stress yourself too much. The thing you should be focusing on is what's the kind of team dynamic that you want to be in? What kind of work culture do you want to be in? Because there is a good energy coming up. If, on the other hand, you are interviewing for people, you might have found it hard to get what you wanted, but again, there's a good option coming up that will fit in very well with the team. So either way it works out, but I think for most, this is more likely you're looking for a promotion, you're looking for a new job, something like that in the next 6 months, 6 to 12 months. And at first it may not quite fit and you might think, am I ever going to get anything? But it is saying, yes, you will. So just chill a bit. Don't worry too much about it. And if you are in between jobs, take advantage of that, because my feeling is it's a good job you're going into, but the fact that it's portrayed by chefs, I always think, like, when you sort of see those TV series about, restaurants or whatever, it's one of the most team oriented, but also one of the most hectic jobs. So it feels like you might be going into something that uses a lot of energy. You are going to have good connections in doing it. But right now, at the time that you're seeing this, the offer hasn't been made yet, but it will be made. So don't worry too much. Given that I don't think the offer has been made yet, and given, things can take a little bit of time, sometimes it's a numbers game with going for a job, and you just have to apply for a whole bunch, and it's the one you least expected that you end up getting. Let's have a look at what blocks or issues could arise. And they could be issues in trying to get the job, or it could be issues when you first get in there and it's like assimilating with a busy team. Or even going into a position where you're a manager and then you have to set up a team. It could be a two-step process. The kind of blocks you might have to deal with: Four of Pentacles, Nine of Cups, Ace of Wands reversed, Seven of Cups. Okay. So I think what this is saying, there's no major block, I've got to say. Once you've got the job, there's no major block. But what I would say is there's a lot of potential to have the ideal here, but it's like the foundation is there when you first get there, but the full realization hasn't got there. So a good example might be that you are some sort of creative person or innovator or something like that. You interview for a job to be in a team, and it's a new team and it has to establish itself, a new project, a new team, a new organization. So when you first get there, the basics are there, but the promise hasn't yet been fully realized. And it might take 6, 12, 18 months for that to happen. So you have to have a little bit of patience. But it is saying you will see it's possible. You're just going to wonder sometimes, is it going to be the ideal, or am I deluding myself? Because only the basics are there. So it could be, and there's a lot of people who have like skills around you. There's a lot of promise, but who knows whether you're all going to get on. That kind of energy. I believe it will work out. I think this is like don't worry energy, but you're going to worry a little bit about that, I think. So what about breakthroughs? If you're worried about is this going to become all that it could be, what are the breakthroughs you're going to see in that time period or very soon thereafter? Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, it's going to grow. It's different. It's different to what you've been in before, and it's much more balanced. Okay, this is a better environment to one that you've been in before. So maybe you're interviewing because you came from a place where team dynamics were not good. The team dynamics for this will be good, There may be a little bit of competition to start with, particularly when people are establishing themselves with the Ace of Wands reverse and the Seven of Cups. But overall, it's going to be more balanced than you thought. And this is a growth opportunity. It's very different to what you've experienced before. So I think that the people who've come to this reading, you're looking for this new opportunity because you haven't been in a good team dynamic, or you haven't got on well with your boss or whatever. This will give you a better balance as well, a different way of thinking about work. It may be a slower growth than you originally thought you would want to see, but it's still going to happen. And you'll start to think a bit more about work-life balance, I think, as a result of that. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at the relationships, because anything in terms of career, vocation or whatever is really important about the relationships we have. And we're going to look at 3 categories. We're going to look at peers and colleagues, so probably a lot of the team. We're going to look at managers or business partners like that, higher level thing, or people, money people who could give you money. So people who are higher than you. And then we're also going to, if such exists, because you might be running your own business, and then we'll have a look at clients. If any of them don't apply, just ignore it for this reading because it's a collective reading. But we'll look at clients or audience if you're an influencer, that kind of thing. And we're just going to look at the expression that we get to get a sense of the energy over this period of time towards you. So when we look at peers, so remember you're going to be going into this new team and maybe there's going to be a little bit of jockeying and everybody sorting each other out. So what's the overall energy working with this team? Yeah, everybody's checking each other out. But that's what you'd expect at the beginning, and that's what we're seeing there. It is going to get good. It is going to be a really good team to work with. But at first it's kind of like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. Let's each just watch each other. Let's see what's coming out of this. It's not hostile, it's just waiting to see. Let's see, like bosses, managers, money people, that kind of thing. They're happy. They're happy to have you. They're actually quite chill. I actually think that that's got something to do with this. They want a good team. If they've got a good team, if they've chosen the right people, everything just works. So I think, and they've got a good attitude. I think they'd be quite hands-off. And then what about clients or audience, depending upon what we're talking about here? Okay, there could be an issue that's being solved. So again, remember I said this felt like it was something new? It might be whatever this is, whether it's a business, whether it's sort of something you're doing online, so you're giving some solutions, or whatever it might be, or like an efficiency thing operating within an organisation. They're waiting to see because they've got some concerns. So it's going to be very important for the team to come together and to look at that. But you can also rely a little bit on the manager or the money person. If they have the right people, they're feeling much more confident about dealing with the concerns of an audience or a client base or whatever. But there is something like that going on. So that may be where trying to sort of, is this going to work out or not? It looks to me like it will, but you might at first be, well, I'm not sure about my colleagues yet. I'm waiting to see how that plays out. And clients, they don't seem to be very happy with the overall industry or whatever it might be, what's going to happen. But I think you've got a really chill, good boss or money person around it, which is positive. Let's get a straight talking piece of information about each of these as well too. So around your team, your peers, your colleagues, jealousy. Okay, there could be some jealousy. It felt like there could be some competition. I do think that shifts. So either whoever that is leaves, and that kind of brings everything into balance, or eventually it settles itself down anyway. But yeah, I think at the beginning there's a kind of like everybody's sort of like sorting each other out. So don't be surprised if you come across that. Again, I think it's like a good manager or money person around this who can probably cut through a lot of that. But some may be jealous, or it could be that those, if you leave to go somewhere else, others may be jealous of you who used to be in your team before because you've got this good opportunity. The advice around the boss, authentic. Yeah, just be yourself. They've chosen well. This is a smart person. And if you are the person who is choosing people, you will choose people well, and your bosses will like that, and maybe some of your peers will be jealous of you. And then the clients who look like they need a little bit of convincing about whatever is being provided. You're heading in the right direction. So yeah, this is all looking good. It just has some teething problems, I think. Just a kind of a settling in sort of energy. Okay, so let's have a look at skills. Skills and the energy in that sense, very important for success. So we're going to look at 3 aspects you know about yourself or you would expect to help you. And then we're going to look at a couple that might surprise you. So firstly, what is working for you in terms of skill that you're kind of conscious of or you would quickly become conscious would help you in this environment? The explorer, okay. Being ready to look into new things, being open to that. If you're an explorer, then you're not surprised if you sometimes hit people that are kind of competitive or whatever. You don't worry too much if you haven't yet worked out whether the exploration will take you exactly where you want. And this is very good if you're heading in the right direction as an explorer. So your sense of adventure and curiosity will be helpful. And if you are somebody who's interviewing for a team, your exploration of the team to find the right mix will really work for you. The relocation radar. Okay, for some of you, you may literally move, and that kind of connects this energy. It might also be if you're a manager or a business person interviewing, you might be quite open to where people are placed. These days there is much more, work from home and remote work and so forth. But your capacity to change where you are or even change direction, I mean, it's the right direction overall, but to nuance it will be helpful for you. The mindful manager. Okay, so some of you are managers, or some of you will have a very mindful manager that will help you, or it may be that this is your next step towards becoming a manager and you're really starting to learn about team dynamics and how to operate that. So again, it depends on where you are, but your own innate managerial ability, whether you're filling a team or whether you're part of a team, will work for you. What's a couple of things that will surprise you that will work for you? The Renaissance soul. Okay, so the Renaissance soul is somebody who has very diverse interests and diverse talents. And I think that there's sort of something here about getting to the creative core of what you want to do and what you would enjoy. So you are multi-talented, and that's one of the things that's going to operate for you, and multi-perspective. So again, the exploration. It may be that you've gone in thinking you're going to do one thing, and your managers realize that you can do a number of things and you actually get to extend or expand. Excuse me. And another thing that might surprise you, the problem solver. Actually, that makes a lot of sense with this. I've got to say, whether you are a manager who's filling a role, in which case your capacity to problem solve and work out the best team and also work out how to get clients on side and so forth is going to be really strong. But if you are someone who's going into a team and this is your next step before you manage and build your own team, this is one of the most important things you can possibly have as a skill. If I was to sum up the people who are effective managers and executives and senior executives that I saw in my career, and for those who don't know, I used to be head of HR in a number of organisations, problem solving. Pretty much above anything. If you have really good problem solving ability, you are meant to kind of get to those higher levels. And so that's going to more and more and more become something that works for you in either way that this is read, as someone filling a team or someone going into a team. Okay, so let's also have a look at some astrology energy over this period for you. Neptune in the third house, connected to the collective mind. Well, that's interesting. Your connections to others, that's very good for teamwork or for finding the right people. It's suggesting a kind of telepathic ability, really good at reading a room, really good at reading group dynamics, finding the right people. Something about your spiritual ability is actually going to help you, and particularly around how you communicate with others, since it's in the third house. Then we have Jupiter in the seventh house, cooperative. Yeah, that's great for teamwork or for getting the right people together. Really good energy, and expansion coming out of good teamwork. So again, very good sort of energy for you. Very social. You're very good with people, actually. And oh, that's interesting. This came up in one of the others. It says Uranus in the sixth house. Now, this talks about strong feelings of external disapproval, but I don't think, apart from maybe dealing with clients that want a different approach, I don't really feel that. I think this is more around a major change coming up in your career, because the sixth house is your career, how you serve others, what you do on a day-to-day basis. So it's suggesting a big change. So a new job or getting a new team together. I think that's what that's talking about there. Okay, just to finish off, we're just going to grab a card from a deck called Secret Women's Business. You don't have to be a woman. This isn't just for women. It really is just some suggestions around how to run a business or how to move in your career. So it's just a final piece of advice to let you maximize the positive energies that are coming up in the next 6 to 12 months in your career or vocation or personal brand. Authenticity. Oh, look, an authentic. You're going to have a very good relationship with your boss, whoever that is, or anybody that is providing money. But your authenticity is either going to make you very much revered within your team and likely to be accelerated, or if you're setting a team up, you're going to draw people to you because they see you as an innately authentic leader. So either way, that's the key thing. It says be true to yourself and live your desired life. not for others. So do what you want to do, but you'll still find that you're extremely good with people and this outcome is going to work for you. Even if there is some jealousy, some competition, just be authentic. That's all you need to do. So I hope that that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Sustainable, which talks about driving progress while preserving the planet. But I would think of it as a broad kind of sustainability. So certainly for some, and with these other two cards, for some of you, you may expressly be working in business or service delivery or in some sort of initiative that is about sustainability and about the environment, and well done if you are. But this could also be more broadly around the sustainability of your career dreams, your vocational dreams, your personal brand dreams. And what's interesting is that we have change as one of the other energies here. Change the old will lead us to smoother journeys ahead, and opportunity. Opportunity does knock. It awaits when you open the door yourself, inviting you to step through and explore new possibilities. And look how we've got like kind of nature coming out of the door there. So I definitely think for some of you, if you are drawn to this because you are into sustainable environmental energies, this is a big tick that you're doing the right thing and the new opportunity is going to come from it and the changes that you're looking to bring in will occur. But if you're not about that, you're just about trying to have change in your career, in what you do, in a way that brings in opportunities that are sustainable, that will actually take you where you want to go. I mean, we've got two vehicles here, which I find really interesting, a bus and wind-powered bus by the looks of things, and a car. So I think there's sort of something about going places and then unlocking a door to opportunities. So I definitely think the energy around this is about grasping the opportunity that is change, and knowing that you're heading in the right direction and being able to sustain it. I think that's the general message that we're getting about the next 6 to 12 months, which is great. So let's get a little bit more detail on it with tarot. Then let's have a look at what blocks or issues you might deal with on this journey towards opportunity, and also what breakthroughs you're going to have that are maybe surprising or that you can start to be aware of and leverage. So firstly, let's get a little bit more about this sustainable opportunity that comes from change, from the willingness to change. The Hierophant reverse, yeah, a different way of doing things, a different way of thinking. Three of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles reversed, Lovers. Okay, all right. I think for most of you, this is a change of career or change of organisation or very big change of direction, and that's kind of why we've got the two vehicles here, because the Hierophant reverse is usually the different. Like the Hierophant, if you were working in a Hierophant type organisation, it would probably be something very traditional. It can be academia, sometimes science, government, not-for-profits, that kind of thing, regulators. So it's probably not in that area. So even unless you're in the environmental thing, and that could pick up regulatory stuff, but even with that, you would have a very different and possibly even considered heretical way of looking at things. So you have a different way. Your change energy comes from a different perspective. You want to shake up an industry, shake up a social issue, shake up a political issue, whatever it might be. You're ready to do that, and you have the right foundations, and you've got some good people to work with, whether they're literally at your level, whether they're above you, whether they're some of the sort of client base you might have, or a team that's working with you. And we are going to look at the different types of relationships that you would have in working. You've got something like that, but you are definitely shifting away from something. So Queen of Pentacles reversed, like that would be almost like your anti-environmental. So it's almost as though you're moving away from something that you felt was either not sustainable in the long term to what you wanted to do, or if you are into the environment, was just not fulfilling its promise, or possibly just not paying enough attention to that. You've got some good relationships coming up. Like there's some good ones that exist, and there's some really good sort of partnerships or whatever coming up, and that will be sustainable. It's telling you you're going to do it with the Ten of Pentacles. Start a new legacy, start a new organisation, move up the ladder and have more influence on something, shift what is no longer working, for instance, and build from what you can see would be an opportunity. Very positive energy. So let's have a look and see what the blocks or issues could be, because we always have issues in a workplace. It's never simple. So the Tower, big change. The amount of change. Seven of Wands reversed. The Moon. Okay, all right. Yeah, you're a change agent. You are absolutely a change agent. That's why we've got change here, opportunity. You're the sort of person who can see the opportunity and change. And your only real concern is how do we make that opportunity not only eventuate but be sustained. Others are a little bit more scared about the change that's going on. So I think for most of you, this is more likely to be a change within an organisation that you're in or within an industry that you're in. It's going to shake it up big time. You are right on the cusp of this. You are ahead of your time. But people are frightened of it. They don't understand it. And there could be a lot of people that depart, or they may fear that you're going to depart if you're a very senior manager, for instance, who's very key to all of this. Whatever it is, there's a sense of anticipated loss associated with this. You might have it yourself, but I feel like you can see the opportunity. The one obstacle you're going to have, I think, is the amount of change we're talking about, the speed of that change, and how a lot of it has to be done without a lot of like data almost. It has to be done sort of more on instinct. And others are going to anticipate some pain in this. So it'll be really interesting. We're going to have a look at colleagues, we're going to look at managers or money people around you, and we're going to look at clients or audience. It'll be interesting in particular to see the peers around you and the audience, because if there's an anticipation of too much change, painful change, unclear change, that will probably show up there. So let's see what the breakthrough energy is around this, because it's saying it's going to work out, but you may be a little bit on your own seeing that compared to other people at first. Breakthroughs. There will be some. You will have people around you that, there are some people who can see the point of this. Nine of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, and you are made for this. You have the right sort of charisma to bring the right people with you, but you're also more than capable of doing this on your own. So you will find some people that are not. There's a thing in change in organisations where they say there's a group called the early adopters, and basically that means the ones who can see the point of the change earlier than others. Then there's the sort of like the larger group of people that go with it when they can see it could be sustainable. And then there's some that are going to resist it anyway. So there's going to be a little bit of the resist anyway in there, and there's going to be probably only a small wave of early adopters around this. If this is you changing your career, doing something very different, then at first you might be worried, have I changed everything too much? But you will find a good team, and you will find your growth potential and your sense of greater autonomy comes with this. So it's very positive for you, but there's some resistance energy. And I really only think if it's you're changing a job that might be you a little bit frightened of it, but you'll be okay if that's the case. I think for the most part, you're a change agent and you're dealing with other people who are maybe not as comfortable with it as you are. So let's have a look and see those relationships. We're just going to get a deck that has expressions on it to get a bit of a sense of how different people are responding to you in your career over this period of time. So we're firstly going to look at sort of peers and colleagues, some of whom are going to be good, some of whom might be frightened. So we'll see what is the dominant energy there. We're going to look at managers, money people, supporters on that kind of level. And then we're also going to look at clients or an audience, if it's your personal brand, if you're an influencer or something like that. So firstly, peers, colleagues. Yeah, a lot of them are going to be frightened. There's going to be some that are okay, but there's going to be more to start with that are like, oh my God, what's happening? So this feels like a big organisational change. There's a lot of distress around that, and I think you just need to be aware of it. What about managers, people who hold the purse strings further up the line, that kind of thing? They're happy. And they think that you're the right person for this. They know that you're the right person and they want the change. So that's helpful. You're not getting any pushback at that level. What about clients or audience, that kind of group, if it applies? They're not sure either about what the change is. They're not as worried as people in there, but they're kind of, okay, all right, this might be all right, may not be all right. Is it going to last? What is this really about? So you've got to convince. These are the ones you've got to convince that you're doing something for others, or they can see the point in what you're doing. If you're going for another job, people further up, they will choose you. They'll see you're the right person. But it's like there's a lot of concern around the other energies. Now, you may or may not be in a situation where you have direct sort of like connection with clients or with audience or whatever. In fact, don't look at that if that's the case. If you're very much a lone operator and you don't have peers and colleagues, don't think of that. Like, just look at the ones that apply to you. But let's just get a little bit of straight talking advice about each category. So around the rather frightened people in your peers and colleagues with all this change, okay. What they're worried about is whether something's going to last or not and whether it's going to work or not. I think if you can start to talk about the opportunity and like you can get them involved in how to make it sustainable, you can get past that fear. What about managers? Okay, this is positive vibes reverse. You might need to turn them around, or it might be that they are very positive, but like what they're getting from their sort of like organisation is not so positive. So, or it might be them responding to a lack of positive vibes from clients that have brought this about. So being aware of the fact they're happy with you, but this change is necessary, I would say. And then for clients or audience, know your worth. Yeah, know that you're the right person for this. If they're not sure about this, back yourself because you are the right person for this, pile 3. Okay, so let's look at skills that you're going to use that you're kind of aware of that you have, and then we'll also have a look at a couple that might surprise you that are going to work in your favour. Skills or energies that are around during this time. Firstly, the opportunity window. Yeah, you can pick out an opportunity a mile off. You really can see the future. You can see the opportunities. That works really, really well for you. Makes you be able to navigate change a lot better than most people. The ethical and so the Hierophant reversed. You will make sure that the change is done ethically, sustainably, in a way that you could spiritually and kind of in terms of your values be happy. And I think that will actually help calm some of the other energies around it. People see you as doing the right thing. And we have the time traveler. Yeah, you can almost see into the future. So people kind of start to trust that you know what you're doing. What are a couple of skills or energies that might surprise you but will work in your favour? The risk taker. You may not have thought of yourself as a risk taker, but you are far more than most people. And like the fact that you're prepared to do that will go very well with the people who you're working for or you're getting, financial support from. And I think you lead others towards taking risks. And the legacy builder, and you're seen as someone who can build something sustainable. Whether it's a business, something within the industry, a social policy, an environmental policy, whatever it is. So you're seen as very values-based and like kind of very reliable. You're also seen as able to see things, opportunities coming before others, and then you may not really think you're doing it, but you're able to take risks. A lot of other people would think they were risks. You probably don't think it, but the amount of change that this could actually stir up, it's equal to the amount of opportunity that it brings, but the amount of it is going to worry some other people, but you're going to realise how brave you are and therefore what a leader you are. Okay, it was very positive. So let's just get you some astrology energy as well. Okay, firstly, Uranus in the 4th house. Chaotic experiences in family life. Okay, I think it's more likely in work life in this situation, but it's like, it may in fact be pointing to if you had a lot of change in your home life, then you've learned from that and you're able to ride that more than most people. Otherwise, it could be that this actually shifts where you live. The fact, again, that we've got these two vehicles, you may have to move where you live, taking the 4th house that way to bring the change in. We also have Mercury in the 1st house, endless curiosity. Yeah, this is part of it. You are open to opportunity. You're open to the future. There's something, a very good communicator too. Mercury in the 1st house. People will really listen to you. And the North Node in 12th house in Pisces. It's okay to be human. Yeah, there's something here. There's something very ethical, very human about this. Like at the end of the day, one of the other reasons that people will follow you, even if it feels like a risk, is that I think they know that you're a really inherently good person. Like the sustainability sort of says that. Like if they're going to follow you, they're going to follow you into taking risks. They trust you. And that you also allow that they could be frightened and it's okay for them to be human. It's safe for that. You make an amazing manager, leader, CEO, whatever it might be with this sort of energy. Okay. So just to finish off, just to give you a last piece of advice, I'm just going to draw a card from the Secret Women's Business deck. Don't have to be a woman. This really is just a business deck that shows advice and energies to pay attention to. So this is a final piece of energy to pay attention to over the next 6 to 12 months to maximise what is positive in this reading. A spiritual business. Okay, there's something, your values, your spirituality, your psychic ability, your change ability, all of these things coalesce here. You really can kind of see the future. There's a spiritual energy, sort of a bit, like an oracle or a prophet. That is actually part of this. And that is also, I think it's your spiritual heft, the sort of like the real strength, and that you're just a really good person at your core that is really going to make this work. So even if it feels like a risk, even if it feels like people are worried around you, you've got this sort of sense of zen almost to get through it, and it's going to be very, very successful. But yeah, know your worth. If people are not sure, I mean, people further up the line see it in you in spades, nothing to worry about there. But helping people through it and convincing people who are maybe going to be the clients of it or the recipients of it, just go back to that sense and that core in you, and you can't go wrong. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.